Let's now connect with investigative reporter for the Center Square, Mark Stricherz, about his story looking into luxurious hotel spending. Mark, thanks for taking time with us. Interesting story you've got here about Governor Josh Shapiro. What did you find out?
Thanks for having me on the show. Governor Shapiro spent about $1,700 for 3 nights at 2 luxury high-end hotels in Pittsburgh 3 years ago at the Labor Day Parade, September 2023, and then last January for President Carter's funeral in Washington, D.C. He stayed at the Conrad Hotel in downtown Washington, and the one in Pittsburgh was at the Kimpton Hotel Monaco.
This obviously is something that requires FOIA requests. Walk us through that process of, how you determine how to ask the question, what you're looking for specifically, and just how long it takes to get that information back.
Well, it wasn't quite a FOIA request. It's through a state records request. And Pennsylvania is one of the 2 states that I cover. The other one is New York. And you just go through these states and ask their agencies through their right to know laws or the equivalent of a FOIA law, and go through the agencies, which records do you have as far as outside travel by state officials, what their personal expenses are. And at the end of last month, I put in a request for what were Governor Shapiro's outside travel expenses and hotel stays. And a couple days later, I found that he stayed at the Kimpton Hotel Monaco there in downtown Pittsburgh and the Conrad Hotel. And I looked them up. They were pretty pricey. Each night was about $500. And looked up, and sure enough, each hotel was a 4-star, 4-diamond hotel, and that's one rank from the top 5-star. So I knew that this seemed to be a story that taxpayers and readers would be interested in.
Yeah, no question. With $1,100 for a room at the Kimpton Hotel, you also found out how much he spent on a meal at that hotel. What in the world would cost $30.75?
Right, that's just a function of each hotel at the time that he stayed. To be fair to him, when he was at the in the Kimpton Hotel Monaco, it was the time of the big Labor Day parade. There hadn't been a parade because of COVID for I believe 4 years. So when he ordered the oatmeal breakfast with pecans, side of toast, and a large pot of coffee, that's $56. Any other time it'd be far less, or significantly less. But at that time it was $56. The taxpayers had to pay for that. And when he was at the Conrad, he paid $30 for soup and salad. If it had not been for President Carter's funeral, he would have paid maybe, who knows, $10 less. But the hotels, especially the pricey ones, they charge their patrons more. So that's why the taxpayers had to pay more for that.
Mark, we also had a graphic air there about how much other taxpayer costs are associated with the governor in Pennsylvania. Obviously, security is important for elected officials, especially at that level of government. But it's up there. I mean, you found $1.1 million for his family's home security, including landscaping and groundkeeping.
Right. Well, a 38-year-old Corey Balmer, did break into the governor's mansion last April and set the part of the mansion ablaze while his family was sleeping in it. So any fair-minded person can understand the concerns of the governor and his family and Pennsylvania officials that they need more security for not only the governor's mansion but also his private house in the governor's private house in the Philadelphia suburbs. The question is, how much should taxpayers be on the hook for? $290,000 for landscaping expenses. What does that involve exactly? I think everybody can agree those are, and that's in state officials have raised, especially Republicans have raised questions about how much taxpayers should be spending on those expenses.
Yeah, $1.1 million for the family home security, but they're also looking for $32 million for updated security after that fire from last year.
Right. Well, arson attack. So there's a lot more expenses for security for the governor's mansion there in Harrisburg. My story doesn't look at all the expenses, but $32 million is a expensive. A lot of money to upgrade the governor's mansion there.
Talking with Mark Stricherz, investigative reporter for the Center Square. You can find his story about spending from Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro to stay in a luxury hotel where he got a meal, soup and salad with a soda, $30.75. Oatmeal with pecans and toast and a large pot of coffee, almost $57. Definitely some high prices there at those luxurious hotels. Mark, is this just relegated, this type of spending, to, say, the governor, or do you think in Pennsylvania and really all across the country, there's governments that are giving taxpayers the bill for junkets, for hotel stays, for a whole host of other things, including luxurious meals?
Yes, this practice has been going on for decades, maybe even time immemorial. Actually, I was just looking at congressional records, House disbursements of members of Congress using limousines on taxpayer dollars. So the question is how much does it go on? And usually, oftentimes, public officials will use their campaign accounts to pay for luxury items like the Kimpton Hotel Monaco. But when taxpayers have to pay for it, people get upset. Definitely. But yes, the practice has been going on for a while, as you know, as a reporter yourself.
Yeah, in Illinois, we've tracked park district associations going to annual conferences and charging taxpayers for hotel stays and meals, and municipal associations doing the same thing, annual junkets to put on the taxpayer rolls. And actually, It's led to some accountability and some changes in some local governments, just simply by putting a light on this taxpayer spending.
Right. At one point, I should have mentioned maybe in the story too, in the interview here, was that these are 4 diamond hotels by the AAA, usually called the American Automobile Association. Like 5% or fewer of all hotels are 4 stars. To be 5 stars, that's like 0.3%. It's like there's only a few hundred in the whole country, maybe even North America, that get the 5 stars. So 4-star. This high end. This is not the Super 8 motel or even Holiday Inn or Days Inn. This is the not quite the top tier, but close to it.
And obviously, taxpayer spending of utmost importance. States across the country grappling with tight budgets. The federal government looking to limit how much federal tax dollars are going to these various states. So greatly appreciate you taking that fine-tooth comb and finding these types of records.